Okay, so this is the spot on the map where I saw back in 1975. This is my block right there. That's where I used to catch the school bus. And here's the no dumping sign. The no dumping sign has been here as long as I've been alive. And this is a whole no dumping area. It's where the trails used to be. We used to ride our mini bikes back there, but now there's a church over there, you can see in the background. But this spot right up there is where we first saw the aliens.
March 8, 1994.
They were just spots in the sky, and we just stood here and watched them. It might have been a little lower.
Cindy recalls the same movements that Jack described seeing on his radar. The lights moving erratically and quickly darting away.
It's close. Here comes the car. I gotta get out of the street.
Straight line.
So anyway,
and one would.
Hey, you know what? I was just videotaping. I don't know if y'all remember back in 1975, me and Bruce and Scotty, and we were riding our bikes over here, and we saw the alien, those lights up in the sky. One went over here, and we were like, "Hey, look at this!" We were like 13, 10, 13, 12, whatever age. They were a little younger than me. And we were looking up there, and when they came over here, this is the one that's back in the paper. I didn't think nothing about it till they started talking about it, and they were right there. And this one came over here, and there was 3 lights. And then
like a hockey puck shape of a light out there.
Wait, what's that?
And it just kept going back and forth everywhere. And then it just like disappeared.
The third kind came on. I was like, oh yeah, I know that. I know what's going on there. And so, who knows? It could be space weapons or whatever time, but that was a thing, and they've been hiding it all the time. Who knows? But I said, this is, me and my friends saw that stuff. Look it up, 1975. They said it was Michigan, and they had the 50th anniversary. I think it's next year, one of these years, but okay, you guys, I'll see you later. Aliens!
What they considered UFOs in the Holland area.
The Chicago Tribune reported there were more than 300 witnesses who saw the lights across 42 counties as far north as the Upper Peninsula. Dispatch eventually sent a Holland police officer to the area where one of the sightings took place to check things out for themselves.
This is the Holland neighborhood where Officer Veldhuis was first called to investigate reports of strange objects in the sky. In his police report, Veldhuis says when he arrived on this street, he met a man who had already reported seeing 2 or 3 UFOs. He then looked through the man's binoculars for himself and saw the objects. He described them as having red, white, and green lights, but he couldn't determine what shape they were.
The officer asked dispatch to call the National Weather Service in Muskegon to have the operator check for unidentified objects on the radar. Jack Bouchon and
I was called by the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department, and they asked me to take a look at radar.
Those are my neighbors, the Jameses. They live right across the street from me. They've known me since I was a kid. So I used to go to school with, before the Jameses moved down here across the street from us, Kelly and Jeffrey West, whose father was Price West, who had me sign a recording contract back in the day, and I had to politely decline because he was a real estate appraiser. he was gonna jump into the rap game, and they thought that I was gonna be the next superstar, and I'm like, oh my God, he doesn't know anything about the music business. I said, I better not do this, sign away my the rights to my songs and music. So I passed, and here I am 50 years later, and that I don't think I have any regrets, because at least I saw aliens right up there. Yeah, boy, right there. I'm a witness, and this is my block. You see that? Tallman, at the corner of Tallman and Gruters. Let me be a witness. The corner of Tallman and Gruters in 1975. See that spot right up there between these trees? Whoop! That's where the aliens were. The lights. There was one right here, and then there was 3, like right here. And this one over here, it looked like it came over there to join the other 3, but it couldn't tell, and it was kind of, atmospheric. And then there was another one over here, so there was 5. There was 3, and then there was another one, 4, and 5. And then all of a sudden, they turned. This one looked like it zipped off that way, but then they zipped off this way. They went that way. They went that way. They went that way. Zip, and then they just took off. And so that was it. Never thought about it again until Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I loved. It was like a documentary. It's like, oh yeah, like I said, I know that. I've seen those. I didn't see the aliens, but I saw the light spaceships right there. That's the spot. So every time I think about it, I'm like, that's where I saw in 1975 my friends, my alien friends.
You got a newspaper reporter that saw. You got police officers that reported on the ground. You got a pilot that a 747 pilot that saw it. You got the FAA that saw it on the radar, and then you got and then you have a meteorologist, a radar meteorologist that saw it. So you got all of them, and then plus 300 people in West Michigan that saw it.
The alien craze is now more widespread than ever after a recent congressional hearing discussing UFO sightings by military personnel. Although the government now refers to these sightings as unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs.
UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Military aircrew and commercial pilots, trained observers whose lives depend on accurate identification, are frequently witnessing these phenomena.
3 former U.S. military personnel testified in the public hearing before Congress. Former U.S. Navy Lieutenant Ryan Graves, retired U.S. Navy Commander David Fravor, and retired U.S. Air Force Major David Grush, who had the most sensational of claims.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. Biologics came to some of these recoveries.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, that was the assessment. People with direct knowledge of the
The allegations made by the witnesses are already being disputed by the Pentagon, but with the idea of UFOs or UAPs back at the forefront of discussion in America, our eyes turn back to the skies over West Michigan in hopes to understand what was seen on that cold March night in 1994. Could the lights in the sky and the radar signatures viewed at the National Weather Service have been an atmospheric anomaly?
I went through a number of things on radar that I wanted to check out and make sure that and I discussed with a lot of other people at the radar meteorology. And no, it was not anomalous propagation, which is super refraction, where the beam is coming back down. This definitely had the signature of what an airliner would look like. It's just that its movements were very fast and strange.
And if not an anomaly, could it have been a military aircraft? Jack doesn't seem to think it's a possibility either.
We would not test vehicles like that in Chicago airspace. It's just no way. That would be so illegal and so dangerous. I mean, they should be court-martialed for any military guy to be flying the way they were in Chicago airspace like the way I saw them fly. And they were flying at all sorts of altitudes, directions, and extreme high speeds.
And the fact these lights mysteriously vanished as quickly as they were first seen also leads to more questions about the sighting.
I said after about a half hour, it was like another blink of an eye and they were gone. They were all gone. I didn't know if it was like a mothership, if they were all connected at some point. And why they were there in my backyard, I don't know. Just to be a witness, you know, just to say, tell my story and say, yeah, I believe that there was unidentified flying objects in my backyard.
Cindy looks back pretty certain that what she saw was from another world, but Jack, who never actually saw the lights for himself, just the radar signatures, is still unsure to this day what he actually witnessed that night.
I just don't know. I've tried to figure it out. I've never seen anything myself in the sky. I've looked, being a meteorologist, I've looked to the skies all the time. I'm a big airplane buff. I've been on airplanes all the time. I've been on aircraft. I've always had my nose out the window, and I've never seen anything I couldn't explain in the skies myself. But as far as that night goes, it was a weird night, and I don't know anything else.
The lights in the sky over West Michigan on March 8, 1994 might always remain a mystery, but witness Cindy Pravda hopes that telling stories like this will get more people to come forward and lead to a real explanation in the future.
I hope people are more apt to come out and speak about it. There's a lot of people I know that they're still to this day. I still get phone calls from people, you know, Cindy, can I talk to you about this? And, you know, I think I saw the same thing, but I never told anybody, and my wife or my husband thinks I'm crazy, and yeah, I just hope people open up.
And there was about 3 or 4 that kept following it, and every time that initial one that I saw moved, the other 2 or 3 would form a triangle. Now there was a 4th one in there, but it was, sometimes I could see it, sometimes I couldn't. But the main one, and then there were 2 other ones that seemed to always want to be in a triangle with it, and they were about 20 miles apart from each other. And so I once it got over water and the police officers on the ground couldn't see the aircraft anymore, they cut off the phone. But I was able to continue watching it for another 2 hours, and I watched it move down the stem of Lake Michigan, all the way about just directly west of South Haven, and moved down towards Chicago. And then it stopped about just directly west of Benton Harbor, and it was a little bit on the side of Wisconsin than on Michigan, and it just stopped there. And they all hovered there for several hours, looking like just looked like a swarm of like flies. They were just sitting there and hovering, with a few of them moving around amongst each other in a very large round ball of a swarm of objects.
Despite all of the calls into the 911 dispatch, most of the witnesses weren't afraid by the unearthly phenomenon. Instead, many seemed fascinated.
I wasn't scared. I was more intrigued by what was going on. Why are they in my backyard? What's going on? And I said, after about a half hour, it was like another blink of an eye, and they were gone.